say is the message of salvation, then he ain't called to be no pastor. He's called to be an evangelist. If a man of God, the only message, if he's pastoring a church, and the only message that he keeps getting from God is salvation, 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 then he's got no business being a pastor. That pastor is there to teach his church. That pastor is there to preach to his church. That pastor is there to help that church grow. He is responsible to that church. That church is his responsibility. If that church don't grow, who's going to answer to God for it? If the members of this church don't grow, who's going to answer to God? It ain't going to be me, other than for what I can preach and teach you today. But it's going to be your pastor sitting right here. He's the one that's going to have to answer to God if he don't teach you the things that you need to know. An evangelist's job is to get out there on the field. He's going to have different gifts operating in his life than what a pastor is. He gets them in. He's got to have a church to send them to. Where's the pastors? How many pastors are out there evangelizing because it gets them a big name? How many pastors ain't content to sit in their church where God put them, but they want to get out there, I want to go here and here and here and here and here. Well, that's good. But are you really called a pastor if you're going to do that? And God will put people in different places and different times. We have pastored. God put us there for a season. And when that season was over, God moved us on. Paul did not stay in one church the entire time. He went in, he established the churches, he got them on firm foundation, there were pastors raised up, Paul moved on. We've got to be willing to see the differences in these gifts and these callings that God has working in the church. Not everybody is called to be a pastor. Not everybody's called to be an evangelist, and not everybody has the gift of healing. Not everybody's going to have the gift of tongues. Not everybody's going to have the gift of miracles. But there are going to be people in your church that may have that. And your pastor may have those. Because God's going to give the pastor the things that he needs for that particular church. Now, if a pastor, I heard Matthew talking about how he wanted to have the drug addicts and the things coming into his church when he was pastoring. Well, he needed to have a different calling on his life if he's going to minister to those people than a pastor that's got a church that's had nobody but Christians coming in it for 70 years. You know, that pastor that's over here content and not doing anything, you know, his church ain't really growing. What need is he going to have for the gifts that Matthew might need in working with drug addicts and homosexuals? You know, these gifts and callings are there for a purpose. And it's up to us to be walking with God close enough so that when God says, wait a minute, I need you to go do this, we can stop dead in our tracks and say, okay, all right, this is what you want me to do, and be able to move on to it.